love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running.
Okay, well, to a edition of Coach's Corner. My name is Walter Beede, affectionately known as Baseball Lifer 11 on Twitter, and here on YouTube, Baseball Lifer. And what is a baseball lifer? A baseball lifer is someone that's been involved in some capacity for well over 55 years with regard to baseball, meaning as a player, I played until I was 38. Then I was a high school head coach, a college head coach, but most of all as a parent. So we are going to be talking with parents from all over the country, student athletes, about their questions that they have pertaining to their athletes in the sport of baseball. And today we have Eric from Fort Mill, South Carolina. Welcome aboard and welcome into the Coach's Corner. Eric, how are you today, Captain?
I'm doing great, Walter. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for helping us out. So today, I know you have your hands full with regard to your three sons. You have a 5-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 15-year-old, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, so fire away. Torpedo number one. What's our first question of the day?
All right, I appreciate it. My first question is about my 15-year-old. He aspires to play college baseball. I think he's above average, got, a good player, really likes the game, very mechanical. And I think that motivation, he's got a lot of distractions at 15. And I know that he needs push. And as a parent, I want to give him everything I didn't have. But I'm wondering how I balance pushing him to get that extra T work in, pushing him to not miss the workout today in the garage, and being that pushing motivator, but also making sure that he has self-motivation and responsibility to be everything he can. Because Twitter talks about how if you want to be one of those 7% playing college, you got to be self-motivated and be ready for the hours. How do I balance that too and do him right without overdoing it?
Essentially, what we want to get the teenage years, a lot of what you used, the word distractions, right? So we start talking about distractions. We talk about other sports, academics, social media, girls. So there's so many different areas of a young teenager's life that's demanding attention. It's hard to get them to kind of hone in with regard to the sport of baseball. But I always try to get parents to understand there's 168 hours in a week, of which 56, we hope, 56 to about 70, 65, 70 are going to be spent sleeping. Okay, so what are we doing with those other 100 plus hours of the week? We start taking out of their school day, study time, eating time. Now we're getting into those areas of kind of unclear direction. So we want to try to say, okay, what are we going to do every day? We're going to give ourselves 1 hour of skill set development and strength. If we start to get the student athletes at a younger age to understand the benefits from daily disciplines and routines, meaning when I wake up within the first 30 minutes, the hygiene component, the eating component, the getting your books ready component, and then off to school I go. And then in school, I'm focused for these particular 6 or 7 hours. When I leave school, there's either a weight room or a strength training component. And you get them to kind of dial in a routine so that they know, okay, I'm rolling out of school, I'm going to the gym, or I'm going to go lift, or I'm going to go run, or I'm going to go hit. And so it's not something that's kind of left to chance. It's more like Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I do this. Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, I do this. Sunday, I take off. And if you write them down and you put them on a refrigerator, I really think like that can add a lot of benefit, especially to boys 15 to 17. Now, there are a lot of forks in the road there, but I can tell you this. When a student athlete aspires to play college, the vast majority immediately think Division I. But regardless of the level of college that they are going to ultimately want to play at, whether it's junior college, NAIA, Division III, NCAA 2, 1, etc., without daily routine or discipline, they just kind of get passed by. So the earlier that you as a dad, especially of 3 boys, can get the oldest one to understand, you want to go out with your buddies, great. You get 2 or 3 hours every Friday and Saturday to do that. You know, the other hours of the week, you got to kind of get into that study and workout and make sure that you're doing everything to enhance your overall development as a young man. Meaning, you know, for me with my 2 sons, it was always, there was going to be 2 chores a week, whether it was mowing a lawn or something to do with the dishwasher. But you knew that every Tuesday and Thursday or Monday and Friday, you were doing one of those 2 chores, one of those days. And they just knew there was no getting around it, but they just kind of implemented it into their day-to-day routine. So I think that's the best way to approach a 15-year-older, especially if they have skill sets. If they have a skill that you find to be above average, the sooner you get them to understand you want to continue to elevate your game. You don't want to stay level. You don't want to flatline. And anything that you do in your life, flatline means average, and average means we're not going anywhere. We want to continuously strive to be a little bit better today than we were yesterday. So that's what I always tried to do as a dad, and more importantly, as a coach.
That makes complete sense. I mean, completely instilling the routine early in him, and so it's not reminding him every day like what I'm kind of at now, but it's also not the Twitter, hey, sorry, you're on your own, you missed 7 straight days of workout, too bad, so sad. It's giving him the tools and giving him some leash, and we've done that too. Like, we've let him do some things as he's getting his driver's license that we tell him, hey, you got the longest leash right now, but you messed that up, that leash is getting reined in. We trust you. You're a good kid. We're Christians. You're a Christian. I really believe you're making good choices, but we're going to rein you in. Kind of the same thing, what you're talking about with me and him in the baseball is, hey, I'll help you set it up and I'll help you organize it. Your mom's the organizer. Have her help you out with the calendar, but it's still on you to make it happen.
So the best thing I ever did for my oldest was to put it on the refrigerator. So the refrigerator, we all saw it. Anytime we went to the fridge, we saw the schedule. If I saw the blue check marks, that I knew everything was going great. But if I started to add some red X's, like, oh, you missed this, you missed that. And so what I would do is I would do it in 1 month increments. And so, like, for instance, with our weight, started at 155, our goal is 160 at the end of the month. As long as we're working towards 160, if you get to 158.5, at least we're trending in the right direction. But if we're still at 155 at the end of the month, you know what, this month was kind of a wash. We really didn't go forward. We kind of treaded water. So that's on you. And same thing with the grades, same things with the chores. Just making sure that on that calendar that was on the refrigerator, Kyle's work week. And as long as there were lots of blue check marks, we knew, okay, we're making progress, we're moving in the right direction. And so when the kids know that you're looking at the same thing that they're looking at, eventually they begin to understand this matters not only to me, but it really matters to my family. And I want more blue. They want to be reaffirmed, and they want to be, you know, kind of, okay, dad sees that I'm working hard. Mom sees that I'm working hard. So I always try to put that on the refrigerator or someplace that everybody could kind of check in and see the progress report, so to speak. So I find if you do that, you'll find that they'll begin to make progress in a number of different areas, not just baseball.
I appreciate that. That there's a little bit of accountability there, right?
Correct. Right.
Yeah.
And you have to they have to understand the 10 twos. The 10 twos are the most powerful words that your sons will begin to figure out. And I used to put this right on top of their bed, behind their bed on the wall. If it is to be, it is up to me. Do not pass the buck. In other words, if you want better grades, it's your ballpark. You want to be a better athlete, it's up to you. Everything in your life, if it is to be, it is up to me. And so once they understand accountability and routine, they begin to flourish, because now they're not stressed about missing days, missing times, missing workouts. They know this is my day to do this. This is my day to do that. You know what? Friday night, I got 3 free hours to go hang with my buddies or my girlfriend and go watch a football game. So they know that they are taking care of their business and they're not trying to kind of squeeze everything in at the end of the month.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. I appreciate that.
Oh, you're very welcome. Now I want to hear about your 5-year-old because he's the one that excites the heck out of me.
Oh man. Okay. So we call him Adam. He calls himself Adam Stud. That's his name. He's he's the kid that he wakes up in the morning and it's YouTube videos and Padres are his team now. And Fernando Tatis, try explaining to a 5-year-old why his favorite player isn't playing. And he says, you ask him, he'll tell you he took medicine. He took medicine to hit more home runs. Is what, and I didn't even say that. That's just what he got from the the YouTube and the ESPN that he watches every day. And it's so everything what I asked about my oldest son is the opposite. Like with my youngest, I want to ask you a little bit more about where do I go as far as reining him in or not, because he's so intense. It is wake up in the morning, YouTube videos, and foam wall ball off the wall in the house. That's on a school day, and he just started kindergarten. He's a little old, like he's kind of that. He'll be 6 through kindergarten, so he's going to be on the older age for his grade, which adds a little more maturity to him. And he basically requires, and I say require in like not an exaggeratory word. He requires some catch, soft toss, daily from me. Obviously he would take it from his brothers, but it usually ends up being some sort of a fight, brotherly drama. And he's the kid that with older brothers playing baseball, he requires me to pitch to him in the cage throughout a Saturday where there's 2 baseball games and Sunday. And there is no sitting and watching the games for me. So he is what I believe when I hear that, like that 90% or the 10% you talked about earlier, I really believe he is that 10%. Now, he may not do this forever, whatever, but like if you ask me what a elite kid or potential high-level baseball player looks like at 5 years old, I would envision him. And I never would have thought that until I saw him. So when I see other parents talk about how stud kids they have, and I look at them going, well, you're playing the same league as my older boys, and I don't consider them elite studs.
That's just it. So what you want to be doing here is, and so this is good that you recognize this early, and because you've had your 2 older boys. But here's the deal: travel baseball, the business model that I refer to all the time, is actually a negative for your youngest son. And so you do not want to put him into travel baseball at all. My youngest son would practice with my college team when he was 6 or 7. And when I say practice, he would be out in the outfield shagging fly balls. If he shagged, you got to take a few cuts. But what you want to be able to do with your youngest is never take that carrot away from him. And the carrot is to be as good as not only a Fernando Tatis, but that he sees his brothers. Most young athletes get put into this 7U, 8U, 9U, 10U. Yeah, they might play up one age group because they're allowed to go up one age group. But really, your son is going to benefit from getting into Little League or a community league that's going to allow him to compete at 6 with the 8 and 9-year-olds. And then when he's 8 and 9, you want to get him ready for those 10 through 12-year-olds. And he doesn't have any fear. And here's what happens with adults and children. When an adult tells a child, you be careful of that boy, he's going to hurt you, he's too big, he throws too hard. You're the one putting that into that child's mind, not the child isn't saying, hey, I'm afraid of that. And so the number one thing for your 5-year-old, first of all, he loves to catch. I was a catcher for 37 years. The best thing you can do for all your boys, the craft of catching. You do as much drills with their bare hands as possible. You let them catch as many bullpens as they can. And when your youngest one gets to be about 8, you let him catch some of those 12-year-olds. You let him kind of get that out of out of that fear component, like throwing too hard, it goes away real quick once you start to do it. But the other thing is you don't put any boundaries in front of him. Do not put any barriers. Do not say that he's incapable. If he wants to be Fernando Tatis, drive as long as you drive the bus. Watch all the games. And the best thing you do is you let him emulate any move he wants to do. He wants to jump up and throw the ball, you let him jump up and throw it. The number one thing is don't take the creative mind and throw it to the wolves at the younger travel ball levels, because we try to over-organize, over-structure, and we limit the dreams. We limit the creativity through the structure of these 90-minute lessons or practices. So the number one thing that I would say, you absolutely, when you have a young athlete, especially at the 5 and 6, we want them to dream. We want them to dream big. We don't want to tell them about how fast the ball might hurt them or how hard it is to do something. They're going to figure it out as they go along. But the business model of year to year and grade to grade, not good for a young man like that. Do not fall for the travel model. Seek out any local league that will allow your youngest to play up by a couple of years. And I will promise you, the more he plays up, the more he plays against older boys, the more he's going to learn and observe through visually seeing it, actively participating and being a part of that. He'll become more enthusiastic. He'll become more aggressive. And then when the time comes at 14 and 15, that's when travel baseball begins to make sense for a young man like that. Unless you can know definitively that he's going to be allowed to play older levels of baseball, he's going to get bored. He's going to get disappointed because the game is not going to move as fast as he is capable of handling it, because other boys won't have the same passion or excitement that he has. And that typically doesn't happen for what's happening with your 5-year-old is great. It's organic, it's real, and it's passion. And we shouldn't take that out of a 6-year-old and say, okay, you're going to go play with every other 6-year-old that doesn't have that passion yet. We're going to keep you with these kids. He's going to be bored out of his mind. And what we want to do is, up and through the age of 14, find local community-based programs that will allow him the opportunity to be excited to go to the ballpark, excited to go to practice. And more importantly, it's challenging him physically, athletically, and mentally to get better. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. It's funny. Oh, shoot, I don't know if you can hear this. It's starting to pour here.
Okay. No, this has been great, Eric. And I want to make sure I say thank you very much. Get yourself inside. And I'm glad that we were able to get these questions answered today. And thank you for joining us today.
Hey, I appreciate it, Walter. Have a great day.
You too now, Captain. Want to make sure that everybody knows we're going to want to hit the like and subscribe button. Go ahead and hit yourself a home run. Hit the subscribe button. Join in. Send us your questions down below in the comment box, and we'll answer them later. Thank you very much.